Hello and welcome to Making Non-Meta Viable. In this series of videos, I try my best to take non-conventional strategies and otherwise non-competitive archetypes to their limit, as I try to make a deck that overcomes the meta. In this video, we'll go over Marincess, a water attribute cyber series of monsters that were hyped on release to be the next Salamangreat due to their ability to one-card link climb and their ability to recycle cards. I'm going to try my best to make an otherwise unsuccessful deck playable as best I can. Most of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience comes from my local scene, so take my suggestions with deck building with a grain of salt. I also like to think that what I'm doing for the decks I do with these videos are made with the best of my abilities, but if you have any suggestions or ways to make a deck I go over any better that wasn't covered in this video, then feel free to leave a comment below about what I should have done. With that, let's go over Marincess and see what makes this deck good. Keep in mind that as in the making of this video, I'm going over Marincess in a pre-Master Roll 5 world, and I'm only using cards up to Ignition Assault and the TCG as my card pool. I'll be going over the new support that comes out in the future as it comes out in the TCG, as well as making a Master Roll 5 update video about this deck come April. So here's the deck list I'll be using. We have a pretty standard Marincess monster lineup for this deck. 3 Blue Tang, 3 Piscalis, 3 Seahorse, and 1 Mandarin. You need to see either Blue Tang or Seahorse specifically to do a 1-card link climb, and Piscalis is there to put an extra body on board that lets us make our boss monster with Crystal Heart. 3 Ash Blossom because it's a good card. A Cookie Cutter Frog lineup with 3 Swap, 2 Ronin, and 3 Dupe. Though I don't really know how to feel about the Frog engine. Putting a Toad on board is nice, but opening a Dupe or Ronin without a swap or opening a swap with no water monsters is due for a bad time. 2 Desires for draw, 3 Signet Mining to find your missing piece, 3 Called by because you live or die by your normal summon, 2 of the Field Spells Insurance if you banish one off of Desires or if one gets Cosmic Cycloned, 3 Dynamiscus for easy removal, 3 Marincess Wave because you want to see it every game, and 3 Compulse for those troublesome monsters that avoid destruction. For the extra deck we have 3 Blue Slug, 3 Coral, 3 Marble Rock, 1 Wonder Heart, 1 Crystal Heart, and 1 Angel. Try and think of your Marble Rock as your Sunlight Wolf that you'll sit on and recur your resources with. 1 Avermax because it's easy to make, but keep in mind of that water only restriction on the main deck monsters. 1 Toad, and 1 Honor Arc. Your objective is to try and out-resource your opponent while putting on the field big beefy monsters hoping that your field spell doesn't get MST'd. Let's see how well this works in the replays.
Searching for a reason, came out looking to close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number,
So we're back, and how did the deck do? Well, we got to show off how this deck can OTK against an end board with no interactions, I guess, and we also now know that we lose the grind game against Altergeist. Also, to make matters worse, a new ban list came in after the time during this video's production. It turns out that making most of your own resources from scratch takes a long time, add on the time it actually takes to make the video. Anyway, let's go over the good and the bad of this deck. The good. Wave is a really powerful card. It's an impermanence that also gives your monsters blanket protection, while sometimes you can even cheat out games if your opponent is not equipped to deal with a 45 attack unaffected monster, and they just don't have the spell and trap destruction in their main deck. Marincess in a way is almost like a really pathetic Mystic Mind strategy. You almost never have to be worried about having to destroy a big monster by battle because putting out big beefers that do nothing is what this deck does best. Next is the neutral. This deck can float, but it cannot float enough. You'll still lose to decks like Altergeist or Guru with their ability to gain more resources every turn from their deck, while at most you're twiddling your thumbs gaining resources back from only your graveyard. Secondly, Marble Rock is a good card, but it's very rare. It's not dealt with by the time your next turn comes around. You need to keep your monster alive through your opponent's turn if you want any chance of fighting back. And finally, we have the bad. The end boards with this deck are frankly not good. It doesn't matter if a monster has 3,000, 45, 8,000 attack, if it just sits there waiting to be killed with almost no protection, then it isn't a threat. There's also really no wrong point for your opponent to interrupt your plays. It doesn't matter if it's a Ghost Ogre, Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, or whatever it is. If they have it and you use it against this deck at any point during your combo, then your entire strategy falls apart. So how does this deck pan out after all of this? In my opinion, until the deck gets some major support that changes the entire focus of the deck currently, I can't see this deck doing any well in the future. We would need to get some revolutionary and extreme cards to see this deck make any splash in a competitive environment. It doesn't matter if we get good cards like Blue Tang and Seahorse if we need to rely on a single monster and a field spell as our good board. I feel like to make this deck good, we would have to add a few of these points. 1. More immunity to hand traps. I understand the gimmick of the deck is that it's easy to link climb, but that doesn't mean anything when everything stops your plan dead in their tracks. 2. More access to good spells.
Sea Angel searches for any Marincess spell in the deck, which sounds really good, until you realize that the only Marincess spell is the field spell. Give us a Field Barrier or Will of the Salamangreat equivalent, and I'd feel like that would be a good power boost for the deck. And number 3, make Wave searchable. Wave is one of the best cards in your deck, and the only way to get it right now is either hard drawing it or hoping you reveal it off a blue tag. It's such an important and powerful card that most of your games can be decided by if you see Wave that game or not, and that randomness factor is too much for me. Overall, the deck is okay. I think the problem is that it has cards in it to be playable, and it does have combos and interactions with other decks. It's just that everything that the deck does is nothing incredible. Just average, at best, which isn't good enough in a competitive setting where you want your cards to be as unfair to your opponent as possible. Anyway, this will wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be waiting for you in the next one.